Hello. Sorry for the late start, guys. There was a little bit more than I anticipated to prepare, so that kind of went over time. Sorry about that, but I am here now. As you can see, I have not decided which instrument I'm going to start with. So let's put up a poll and see what you guys want to start with. So we have which flute should I start with? So we've got the Sankyo 401, and then we have the Muramatsu 9K. 9K. I believe the Murumatsu actually comes with its own head joint, but we also have a Lafin Headjoint to pop onto it. And I think the 401 also has a different cut that they've included. So yeah, this one's the RT. I think the one that comes with it is the FT. So we'll just say Sankyo 401 and Murumatsu 9K, and you know, I'll put plus Lafin for head joint for the Murumatsu. The Sankyo, it's the FT and RT head joints. Okay, cool. So I'll start that poll and we'll see what you guys want to do. Oh, I see that my camera decided to freak out a little bit. But yeah, so I'm just going to cover this up right now simply because I wanted to draw you guys' attention to something else while I wait for all the answers to come in. Just another flute guy here in the chat gifted me this, and I just noticed that you specially printed this ribbon. So just another flute guy here in the chat is the creator of Chem Voyage, which conveniently I actually have the original clots that he gave me when you first came out with it, I believe. So I've really enjoyed this. I have not gone back to any other swab. So I have been kind of like, you know, not so low-key promoting it, not just because it's Nicholas, but it really is because I really like this. So I actually like only use this. So my students really love it. For those of you guys who have bought this and have come back into the chat to tell us, you guys also really like this too. So yeah, I've been just trying to spread the gospel of Chem Voyage. And as a thank you, Nicholas sent me this. It was supposed to arrive last week, but it did kind of a random tour in Texas. Both of us were looking at the tracking and we're like, you know, because it arrived in Seattle and then it decided to go to Texas and did a little bit of a tour in Texas. Hey, you're using your Chem Voyage channel here in the chat. So you guys can go click on the Chem Voyage and go check out their official YouTube channel, because I think you have some like really nice videos too of your stuff. So anyway, Nicholas sent this to me as a thank you. And I believe there is a special thing for you guys. There is a special charm that you guys can get if you use the code JAF when you order your clots from Chem Voyage. So, Nicholas, if you can just mention in the chat exactly what it is, because I remember you told me over Discord. So yes, the code is JAF. If you guys go and order this, you guys will get a special charm. So a special little extra something for you guys. Just, you know, as sort of a nod to the fact that that Nicholas, is my chat moderator and, has been supporting this channel for a really long time. So let me see. Let's see what you wrote. It was a while back now, right? I think it was a while back now. So you mentioned, you're probably already saying it in the chat, but I'm like in too deep now into our Discord convo. So, let's see. Yes. So you guys, if you guys want the code, if you guys want the charm, when you guys order, just use the code JAF and you will get the charm. Let's open it and see what it looks like. Did I get that right, Nicholas? Yeah, it feels like a while back now, right? Yeah. Free shipping plus charm for the bundle. Hey, you guys get free shipping too. Okay, so free shipping plus charm if you guys use JAF. It is a limited time. So, from the time that you're watching this, or because today is March 20th, I believe you're letting the special go for a week. Is that right? I scrolled away now. So yeah, I think it's for like a week or something like that, right? Yeah, so go get your own. Let's open this up. I have not actually opened this up. So I just took it out of the shipping box. That's it. But there is your whatchamacallit, your business card. This is so beautiful. So I believe you hand wove this. Is that right? Because you sent me a photo. And I believe in the photo it was you hand wove this, right? So beautiful. I love it. Understated. So I'm going to clip this probably onto the zipper of my flute case. With the little heart. I love it. I do appreciate that this thing is so easy to open. It's huge, so it's easy to open. Handmade. Thank you. So you guys can get this charm, handmade, as sort of like a little something something. So if you see someone else out there who has this exact same charm on their flute case, then you'll know that they are part of the Jaff family. Yeah. Thank you so much. And then you also, you really didn't have to, okay? You really didn't have to, but he gave me a new one. Beautiful. So this is what the new one looks like. If you guys want to see what a used one and a new one looks like. So new one, and then this is my used one. So this one, it's shrunk, as you can see. It has shrunk in the wash. But I mean, the color is pretty much there. I'm sorry for the lint. Please ignore the lint. That's my fault. Yeah, the color has not at all changed. It's just shrunk a little bit, and then the edges kind of rolled a bit, but doesn't change the fact that I use this all the time. So, very durable. But anyway, yeah, for my backup, yeah, it's true. Maybe I downgrade this one to my backup and use the new one. So anyway, you guys can use code JAF to get your charm and free shipping. So, and then now we have like a little kind of like secret something amongst the Jaff flute fam. Thank you so much, Nicholas. I cannot I want you guys to know how special this is to me, because when I started this whole YouTube thing, I was really just doing all of this for fun. And I really mean it. I was just doing all this for fun. I just love the medium. I love live streaming. I love making videos. I just like the video format. And the only thing I knew how to do remotely well was the flute. So this kind of became just kind of a thing that I enjoy doing. And to know that, like, I hope it's not presumptuous to say this, but knowing that my work has had a hand in inspiring something like this to now exist in the flute world is mind-boggling. It's very humbling. It just constantly reminds me that, like, you know, whenever you are trying to influence the next generation of, you know, whatever field it is that you do, you really want to, like, push them to want to create things that will evolve the world, you know? And I find that, like, the creation of these, like this cloth and this polishing cloth, like, to me is like, this is pushing the bounds, you know? Like, this is identifying issues that, you know, we have as flutists and working to solve them. So for me, the big thing with the polishing cloth is that it's big enough. It's actually big enough. And also, it actually wipes my flute clean pretty much in one go. Whereas usually for other polishing cloths, I have to kind of keep wiping because usually the oils on my, like, from my skin just kind of like spread around the flute. But with this one, it actually wipes it off. Plus, it's machine washable, so the oil never builds up. So, you know, that's one, you know, problem identified, and you know, actually multiple problems identified and solved. With this one, it's that one pass. You know for a fact it's just going to go right through the flute. Single pass through the body and the foot joint, and it's clean. You don't have, like, dry, so you don't have to, like, worry about it. And, like, absolutely is, like, the only cloth that I can stuff into my head joint and, like, guarantee that it's going to be dry afterwards. So this has actually been an insane game changer for my cleanup game, especially for these flutes that I review. Like, absolutely game changer. Like, I wipe and clean flutes so fast now that I actually kind of doubt whether I did a good enough job. So I have to check them again. And it's like, yeah, they're fine. So, yeah. You know, I hope you guys can really hear that. I'm not jazzing this up. I truly am not making things up. I actually, like, you guys have seen me use this all the time. So, yeah, Nicholas, thank you so much for creating this. Yeah, I really, really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Yes, it cleans up your practice crime scene. That's exactly what it feels like. 100%. That's 100% what it feels like. So anyway, let's pack this away and get started on our flutes. Looks like the Sankyo is winning, so we will go with that. I can feel that I might end up finishing my water partway through the stream, so I might need to take a break and go refill it. Just want to let you guys know. By the way, charm. So I do want to put it on my flute case right now. So here we go. Just trying to make sure that this is within the shot. There we go. So now you know, okay? If you see someone else with this exact same charm, you know that they are part of this fam. So go get your charm. I believe it's within this week. Go order the only polishing cloth and swab that you're ever going to need and get yourself a charm with free shipping. All right. Thank you, Nicholas. Much appreciated. All right. Hey, Buffy, you just ordered more. Yeah! Now you're going to get the charm. Yeah, I really hope more and more people really understand just how great this is. Okay, we're going to close the poll and get started with the 401. So this is a Sankyo here. So let's put the Murumatsu away. And then I'll take out the other head joint soon, but we wanted to do this part, though, very important to do on camera. I'm going to take off my ring. I know that sometimes I forget to tell you guys that actually, like, you know, I already took off my ring and put on the silicone one, or sometimes I do it without even telling you guys. Um, so did want to make that clear. Make sure that if you are going to wear a ring, especially while trying a flute, make sure it's a silicone one. You may be asking, well, Joanna, like, do you really have to wear a silicone ring? If you're just like on camera, you know, the answer is yes, because the internet is full of weirdos. And I need the weirdos to know that I am very happily and monogamously married. And it just kind of helps me not have to deal with extra drama that I do not have time for. So, so now let's open this up. I want to see what they've included in here. So they have a branded wood cleaning rod. We got a shoulder strap. They include some plugs. And they have, looks like it's a little card with some information. So warranty information. Perfect. Okay, yep. So that's what they have included in the pouch. We're going to put that away because we are not going to use that stuff. Make sure you do not use the cleaning materials that are included with new flutes. Please use your own. Because if you use them, then no one else can. And then they have to like order new cleaning parts if they were to sell this to someone else. Okay, so here's the case. Looks like it's a carbon fiber case. I think, at least. It looks like it, at least. But there you go. Pretty flute. Look at that. Very nice. So let's read out the specs of this little baby. So let me head on over to, this is the Sankyo. There we go. All right, so this is a Sankyo Handmade Flute 401. I have put the link in the bottom bar below if you guys want to go check out that page as we are talking about it right now. So this one it's a sterling silver hand cut head joint. This particular one that's in the case here is the FT cut. We have the RT cut in this box on the side here, so I'll put it over here so you guys can see them both. Let me just tilt this up so you guys can kind of, you know, somewhat compare them. Oh, there we go. Cool. Just gonna make sure that that is somewhat there we go, somewhat what's the word, focused. Okay, so we have, yeah, sterling silver hand cut head joint, sterling silver body and mechanism, pinned mechanism. Okay, so since it is, I can see the pins right here. So since it is a pinned mechanism, the mechanism, it does actually make the mechanism lighter. So for people who are looking for a lighter instrument, you may want to consider pinned mechanism instead of pinless. Pinless tends to be a little smoother, at least to my feeling. But you know, if you need it to be lighter, go lighter. Drawn tone holes. So I believe that means that, yeah, that they kind of like, the tone holes are molded out of the tube, I believe is what drawn tone holes mean. Whereas soldered means that they've been attached on. Like it's a different piece of metal that's been attached on. Okay, French open hole model, pointed key arms, gold springs. This, you can choose between 0.016 inch or 0.018 inch tubing thickness. So the 0.016 inch is the standard wall, and the 0.018 inch is the heavy wall. If you choose heavy wall, it is more expensive. So it's about, as of now, it is $450 more expensive. It's tuned at A equals 442, uses Sankyo pads, it has a B-foot joint, and it is handmade in Japan. In terms of the other options that we have here, I can see that we have a split E, which interestingly, Yeah, offset G with split E. Yeah, so split E mechanism does add an extra $750, and it is actually listed under the G key option. One of the reasons why it's listed under the G key options is because I believe you can only have split E mechanism with offset G. I believe you can't, it's not actually possible to fit it all in there with an inline G. Flute makers, if you're in the chat, you can absolutely correct me, but if I'm wrong, but that's what I've heard at least. Okay, and so we have split E mechanism, we have C sharp trill. We do not have a D sharp roller on this one. I found that particularly interesting. For a time, I thought that D sharp roller was becoming standard, but I'm noticing now that D sharp roller is starting to become an option again. Rather than the standard, which I think is very interesting. So, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, right? Certain brands do the standard D sharp roller, but yeah. Is that right? Saturday, you've never had a D sharp roller? It's especially helpful if you have a B foot joint, I feel, simply because there are so many keys on the side here. The addition of the B key is a lot. So personally, I found that having the D sharp roller on my B foot joint really, really helped. But I noticed that when I switched to a C foot joint and I opted not to have a D sharp roller, I found I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all. It's something about the fact that you just have way fewer keys to deal with. It just is a lot easier for some reason. Yeah. Adrian, you're loving your roller. Yeah. They're really good in my opinion, especially for B foot joint. Especially for B foot joint. Personally, seriously, for C foot joint, I don't really miss it. So, and anyone else who plays a C foot joint can chime in and see if you also agree. But okay, very cool. So the base price for this as of now, March 2025, is $9,900. And then, plus all of the, extra bits that I was talking about. The split E would add $750, right? Yeah. And then the C sharp trill adds at $850. If you want the D sharp roller, it would add a $250. So this particular combo that we've got going on here, so without this, just with the one head joint, we are at a total of $11,500 for this specific combo that we have here. Honestly, in my opinion, not a bad price. It's like what I would say is kind of on the bottom end of professional prices. Usually I'm expecting around 15,000 and higher is usually what I expect for a professional model, but this is quite professional and is on the bottom end of the like 10,000 to 20,000 range. So I think it's like I'm going to I'm impressed is what I'm saying. I'm impressed with the pricing. So I think primarily what we're going to be probably finding is the biggest difference are the two head joints. So the FT and the RT, I'm really curious to see how they differ from each other. We shall see. Okay. Did this come out this? No, I'm saying that prices fluctuate is what I'm saying. So that anyone who's watching this in the future, and you hear me quote these prices, it may not be that price in the future. So this can be, it can be appreciation, depreciation, inflation. So who knows? The price can go up or down. Truly, So yeah, exactly. So like, we just want to make sure that people are not shocked if they're like, watching these reviews much later and then they're like, wait, but the prices are completely different. What happened? That's what happened. Okay. It's just the market. the market happened. So anyway, I'm going to just put the RT head joint off to the side so it's nice and, you know, safe. And let's now go back to this screen, and we are going to label this as Sankyo. So we're doing the Sankyo 401 with the FT head joint. There we go. Okay, perfect. So we'll do that. And then I need my little notepad. That's from last time. There. Let's sorry guys, I'm trying to like reposition this a little bit better. There we go. Okay, sweet. So let's do this. So I think the first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to put it together, do some harmonics, kind of mess with it, see what happens. Oh, I got 2 new pimples here. I just noticed that. I was like, did I like leave food on my face? No, it's just pimples. Okay. Yeah. It's a little lighter than I expected. It's like, I think a little on the heavier side. Was this a heavy wall? Sankyo. No, this one is standard wall. I think everything just feels huge to me compared to the Brandon. Brandon makes like very, very like if you've ever played a Brandon, you'll know what I mean. It feels very small compared to other flutes. Every other flute to me just absolutely feels like a giant. Okay. Excellent. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm going to remain seated for this review. I'm just really not feeling the like crazy energetic, you know, standing up type of review. Miyazawa feels smaller in your hands. Yeah, you know what I mean. I think out of all the flutes out there, like compared to the Brandon, I think comfort-wise, the Miyazawa is pretty comfortable for me too, because it has that sort of smaller feeling. Yeah. Might be the lower ribs. Oh, could be. Yeah. It could be. Yeah. Okay, let's give this a go. Gonna noodle around, and then I'll make my way into harmonics. Very forward playing. It's very, very forward playing and quite low. Sits quite low in the mouth. So like when I was playing the low A, I was actually kind of stunned by how much lower I had to kind of nudge that air bubble. Like it had to go pretty darn low. So I'm gonna continue. You hear that last A? That's usually where I like to place the air bubble for the A. But based on the way it sounds, I can tell that that air bubble needs to be way lower. And I moved the air bubble so low that it is normally sitting where my low C sits on my own flute. So I may not actually be able to get the lowest notes to sound the best because I don't have a lot of space down here. I have a very small mouth. So I think it was a good choice for me to, switch to a C-foot joint. Because what a C-foot joint does that I recently discovered is that it makes low notes sit higher in the mouth and high notes sit lower in the mouth. Like it just kind of makes that range of motion much smaller. So for someone like me who has a really small mouth, the C-foot joint just makes that so much easier. This is a B-foot joint, so that range of motion vertically is going to be much bigger. So if that low A is already sitting where my low C sits on my flute, I know that I'm going to have to really stick that air bubble really low. So I probably have to do a little bit of like a lower lip duck face. Well, I have to probably like really like jut my lower lip out so that I have enough space down there. At least that's what I'm feeling right now. I'm curious to see how the high notes respond. Okay, interesting. Ooh, yeah, this flute sits very low in the mouth. And it is a very forward playing flute, but the high notes like do kind of nudge back a little bit. So like for the high E and G, those notes did kind of nudge high G, E, and B flat. Those nudged a little bit back, so they were more around like right behind my teeth, where the teeth meets the gums. Like they were kind of around there. So the movement is actually still mostly vertical, except for the highest notes. The high C is the outlier harmonic. So when I say outlier harmonic, what I mean is that usually you're going to feel, if you're really paying attention to where the air bubble sits in your mouth, you'll notice that it kind of like the air bubble follows like a trajectory, where low notes tend to sit low and forward, high notes tend to like kind of sit a little bit further back, but mostly higher in the mouth. So this is kind of like diagonal plotted line that you can make if you were to connect all the dots of where the air bubble sits. The outlier is the one harmonic that does not sit on that line. And that outlier, every flute has one outlier, and it kind of depends on who made the flute, how they made the flute. So every flute's outlier harmonic is different. This particular one, what I find very interesting is that it's the highest note. It's the highest C is the outlier. And whenever it is an outlier, it tends to need to sit further forward. So because the other high notes underneath it are pretty much where the teeth meets the gums, the high C is instead in front of the front teeth. It's kind of in front of the gums, the top gum area. So I can like just duck face enough to make room in order to do that. So in general though, I am noticing that this flute essentially is demanding a lot of space in the bottom around the chin area. If you want to play really low notes very, very richly, at least on the FT head joint, you need to make sure that you are not smashing the flute into your chin. You cannot do that. You actually cannot afford to do that. If you do that, all of your low note resonance is going to be gone. We're talking apparently from at least low A and lower. All those notes, that flute needs to be very light on your chin to make sure that there's enough space there. So now that I've talked about that, I will draw it for you guys. So you guys can see what I am talking about. So let's go here and we are going to start drawing. Okay, I really should prepare like the side profile mouth, and I never remember to do it. So whatever, this is what's happening now. So I just realized, by the way, that I can totally just type. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's see. In here we'll do 100 font size. Okay, cool. Now you guys can really see Sankyo 401. That might be a bit big. Do you agree? It's a little bit big, isn't it? Oh, that's a little big. Let's do 75. 75. Okay, we'll do that. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay, Sankyo 401. Okay, so let's go to our paintbrush, and then we're going to we will attempt to draw this. So we have top teeth, we have oh god, those are fangs. Okay, that's close enough. And then we have up into the roof of the mouth. Oh, that's really too far back. Oh god. Okay, that's good enough. And then we have that. Okay, cool. I think what I'm going to do really quickly, actually, let's draw the lips, and then what I'm going to do is copy this into another page so that we can prepare that for, other drawings. Okay, so that's my horrible drawing. So give me a second while I oh god. Okay, so we're going to copy that. We're going to create a new one. Oh. What if we did... Can I duplicate? Is that a thing? Image. Oh, let's try. Okay. Well, what if we did new? Image. Okay, we got it. Okay, so we'll do that. Sorry for the scuff, guys. I'm going to just, oops. I'm just going to very quickly delete this, though. I think I need to fill it with white, I believe is what it is. Ooh. Ooh. Really? Truly. Fill. One would think that I would know how to do this. Ah, I think what I'll do is that. There we go. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so now that we have that, I might just save that actually as my little mouth from now on. Anyway, so going from lowest to highest. So our low note, our low C, I feel at least. Where is my paintbrush? There we go. So low C feels like it's like here. It's quite low. In fact, it may be lower than that. It's a bit lower. Oh dear. It's a bit lower. I would say my guesstimation is like it's down here. So that is our low C. Our C5 is like here. So that's why I was saying that the A felt like it was where my low C was, because my flute's low C is right here. So that's why I was like, oh my God, I have to play so low. It's lower than that. It's further down my lower front teeth. Absolutely. So it's like here. That's wild. Okay. The G is between the teeth. Maybe a bit higher. Like that. G is there. Okay. C is right at the bottom of the front teeth. C is here, and then right behind the teeth. I'll label these a bit better after I'm done. And then yep, right where the teeth meets the gums. So G is right here. Okay, a little bit higher, B flat is right here. So personally, I find I have to like very slightly lift my soft palate for it to really ring. a little hard for me to exactly place it, but the high C7 feels like I've gone out here. And that's pretty usual, that the outlier harmonic comes down and forward for some reason. So we're going to go in and label all of these. We'll use, I think we'll just use black. So black, and we will use maybe 30. How big is 30? Too large. We'll do 20. Okay, so if we do, so here is, so here is C4. This one is C5. This one is G5. Oops. Oop. So G5. This one is C6. This one is E6. And then this one is G6. This one is B flat 6. And then this baby here is C7. Okay. Wow, for once, it's a clean drawing. So that's where I'm feeling the air bubble moving around in my mouth. To be fair, not everyone feels this air bubble. So what you can use are different vowels and different syllables that will help you open up the spots that I've highlighted here for like wherever you are on the flute. So what this is telling me is that from around, like for basically the bottom two registers, so low register and middle register, your tongue is going to, we'll use red. Your tongue is going to have to be, like essentially right here. So it's kind of like what I call faux French tonguing, right? So anything that's in front of the teeth, I find can be tongued between your teeth. Keep it really light though. It's very easy to make it very heavy. So keep it very light, kind of like you're saying la 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 la. And then when you are hitting the high notes, the tongue probably needs to kind of follow up your tooth and up to where your teeth meets the gums. So, because ideally, in order to get the crispest tongue, you want to have your tongue basically tonguing the back of the air bubble, wherever it is the most clear for whichever note you're playing. All right. But because so much of the like two whole registers are basically from the bottom of the top front teeth all the way down in front. So you're probably going to feel that for the most part when you're playing this flute, you're just kind of tonguing between the teeth. So if you find that your tonguing sounds very kind of floofy and spitty on this flute, it's likely because your tongue is too far forward, because you might be too used to doing it for the bottom two registers. So you got to make sure your tongue follows up your tooth the higher you go, like the back of your front tooth, the higher you go, all the way up until you hit the fourth register. So when you're hitting the fourth register and above, I think you just kind of go right out to your teeth again, to where I assume you would probably be comfortable if you like this kind of setup here. So I do realize I need to say that this is the FT. So give me a second here. So this is, I'll put it in lowercase. So this is FT head joint. Okay, very cool. So I would like to, I think I'll leave this up for a little bit while I try out like the articulation, just so you guys can kind of see it on the side while I'm trying this out. It's just occurred to me now that I'm really messing with the articulation. The reason why I chose the Sankyo and this Murumatsu plus Lafin is because apparently these are two very, very popular brands in Europe. And it just occurred to me, actually, even while I was like kind of mapping this particular flute out, I was like, this is reminding me a lot of last week's flutes, the Louis La and the Altus, where it's very forward playing. You know, 2 registers of this is completely in front of the teeth, which I feel that if you like speak more of the European languages that are more in the front of your mouth, so like French, you may really like this. Like, I think this would be really comfortable because I think that your tongue would be really used to making these motions. So yeah, I did want to try these because I was wondering why our European friends really like this. Our European brothers and sisters, why they really like a Sankyo. This might be one of the reasons why. In the States, at least, you can kind of hear from my accent too. We tend to, you know, more so use the space behind our teeth. You know, if I go completely into my San Francisco Bay Area accent, it just goes way into the back of the mouth. I'm just like talking like this as if I'm just like swallowing all of my words. You know, yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you guys see what I mean, right? Like, I'm like, this is like, when I'm tonguing like this, I feel like I'm pretending to speak French. You know, it's kind of like it's all right there. And like, my tongue is not really used to it, but it sounds really good on this flute. It's super interesting. So, you know what I really want to do? Give me a second, because I want to go back. I want to go back to this screen, but I want that picture showing up. So you guys are going to have to forgive the you're going to have to forgive the whatchamacallit, the scuff that is about to happen. All right? There is going to be scuff very soon. Boom. The scuff has happened. Okay. We need to, I'm just going to do this. Cause I realize that I kind of want you guys to see more of me playing the flute, but then I also don't want the drawing to be completely gone either. So we'll do this. Oops. And then I'm just going to make it small, just so it doesn't completely take up the entire, here, let's make it, yeah. We're just going to make it that small, because you guys can at the very least still kind of see what's going on here, So there. Okay. There. Okay, so that's our drawing. And then you guys can kind of see, hopefully see that I'm kind of like following what I just mapped here. interesting. That high C really does want to be tongued between the teeth rather than high up. If you do it high up, it sounds really swallowed. It's super interesting. Huh. I could tell from the tone of that C5 that I hit, I was like, ooh, this is sitting way too high. So I momentarily forgot to like really bring that air bubble really low. So I'm going to guess if you guys find that the low C here sits too low for your mouth, like if you try this flute and you really like it, but the low notes are too low and the high notes are too high, like they sit too low in the mouth, they sit too high in the mouth, you can see if you can get yourself a C foot joint version. These, because Sankyo, yeah, Japan. So Japanese flutes, I find, it tends to be a little bit easier for you guys to track down a C foot joint that matches the same model, because in Japan, it is far more common to play C foot joint. So like if you want this, like if you like this map but you wish it was squished more vertically, you can see if you can get yourself a C foot joint. Yeah. Your Sankyo is a colossal C foot joint unicorn. A unicorn. Yes, it is. So like, does it feel like this? Like, does it feel like this but more squashed? Like, would you say that it's like more like vertically, like more squashed? Like your low note doesn't have to sit so low, your high notes don't have to sit so high, right? Hey Manuel, how are you? Also, hi Justin, and hello everyone else who came into the chat as well. Sorry, sometimes I get caught up with this and I miss a few names. But yeah, so interesting. Okay, so I want to write a few notes. So I'm just gonna put here, so low note, oops, wow, sorry. Low notes sit very low in front. Like this is startlingly low. So only third register moves just behind top front teeth into where teeth meets the gums. And then so tonguing wise, lower two registers tongued from between the teeth. Remember to tongue up the back of top front teeth for third register notes. Okay, excellent. Let's mess with tone, color, and dynamics. I'm curious what this flute likes, like what it likes in terms of like what you play around with. Because sometimes it's the shape of the air bubble. Sometimes it's the shape of the space behind the air bubble. So we'll see. Just playing with the air bubble. It's pretty, like, I find that for me, at least, flutes that just play with the air bubble shape and size, they're very, very like kind of predictable, I think is the word. So, you know, if you want a louder sound, just make the air bubble bigger. If you want the sound to be softer, just make the air bubble smaller. Something to keep in mind, though, this is something I noticed that happens on all flutes. The smaller you make the air bubble, the more it wants to be nudged forward, by the way, just so you guys know. So for example, especially if you're playing like very high notes is really where you're going to feel this. You don't necessarily feel it as much with low notes because you're already sitting quite forward. But on high notes, especially if you like make that air bubble really tiny, you're going to find that it comes out a lot more easily if you push that air bubble a little bit further forward. So a little bit more like, you know, like it's one of the reasons why you will see professional flutists kind of make that little duck face when they play really soft high notes. Like, ooh, you know, I'll do it for you too. So. See the duck face? See that duck face? So the reason is because that now that the air bubble is so small, it doesn't actually want to be as far back as, you know, you would be if you're playing like mezzo forte or louder, right? So that air bubble has now been shoved a little bit forward. If you get it small enough with this mapping for this flute, I am finding that if you get it very, very, very soft, it actually moves in front of the teeth. In which case, now your tonguing is all in front of the teeth, even for those like really soft high notes. It's just that like the map that I create is usually based on if you play around mezzo forte, the kind of middle of the road, basically. So yeah, if you play louder, in some cases, in some extreme cases, I noticed that the air bubble wants to actually move back if you make that air bubble big enough, basically. So just more food for thought for you guys. Okay. Oh, I agree. The wooden Sankyo flutes are drool worthy. I believe I got to try one before at a flute festival and I just like fell in love. It was a little bit of a mistake for me to try it because they're so beautiful. So, yeah. Also, yes, confirmed. This is a professional model. Professional model. See here. That you wanted to hear, I know, Sean, you were wanting to hear the San Francisco Bay Area accent. I just did it just now. You slur all your words together so that you cannot actually make out any of the consonants clearly. And you do it very low, mumble in the back of your mouth. That's a San Francisco accent. All right. So, I'm just going to play around a little bit more. Okay, I don't think it's just me. I think this flute does actually kind of like highlight that movement. When you get really soft, it really nudges the air bubble forward. And when you get loud and make the air bubble very big, it does, you do want to nudge the air bubble back in order to get the full resonance. I find that I feel it on other flutes, but not to the extent that I feel it here. Like I feel it much more extreme here. So I think that is something, you know, important for you guys to keep in mind if you guys end up, falling in love with this flute. If you want to just kind of like manipulate it a little bit better, this is a good thing to keep in mind. So I'll say that it's distinct forward motion, distinctly more forward for soft notes. So air bubble, tiny air bubble. Okay. Tiny air bubble. And it's also distinctly more back for loud notes. So large air bubble. I'm now going to test it for just the tone color, because I am noticing that this flute is very responsive to like manipulating the shape of the air bubble. If you make the air bubble really like flat and wide, you do get a really nice, rich, lots of harmonics, lots of overtones sound. And then if you make the air bubble really narrow, then you get kind of fewer harmonics, to get that hollow tone. Thinner tone. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to see if it actually moves forward. Do you see that? I need to swap this flute. Oh, man. Gross. Okay. Okay. That's good enough. It's getting out most of the slobber. Okay. No. So you only need to move the air bubble forward and back if you're actually making the air bubble like entirely smaller or entirely bigger. If you're just like keeping the relative same size of the air bubble, but you're just making it wider and flatter, or taller and narrower, you don't actually have to move it around. It's very responsive. So I'll put here tone color manipulation. Does not move forward or back. Okay, so, but it does the typical thing. So wide, flat, wider, flatter, flatter, air bubble equals dark, rich, thick tone color, and then a narrower, taller air bubble equals thin, hollow, fewer overtones. Sometimes you want that sound depending on what you're playing. So yeah, but it doesn't actually move around, which I find very interesting. Okay, so I think last we need to just kind of fiddle around with the mechanism to see how it feels. And then I wanted to just do my usual thing, which is, play some Genshin to test it. And then maybe play, I do want to try and play, what is it called again? Rapid as Wildfires. That's the one. Just because I find that, doing those two pieces really kind of helps me, like, I hear the C sharps a little bit better. And then also I get to test out like the full range of the flute, different dynamics, articulation, that type of thing. So anyway, I'm still leaking. Look at that. Okay. It's really low. Woo! Okay. gizmo? Yes. Okay, the gizmo is interesting. I think it's because it like makes it so that the air is now escaping out of here. It does mimic a low C foot joint feeling. Because suddenly I noticed that the air bubble for the high C suddenly snapped lower. It suddenly wanted to snap lower. That's super interesting. I now kind of want to try this on other flutes, but at the very least here, I'm really feeling that immediate, like, it's very distinct. So, gizmo really helps high C7 sit lower, and thus it's a lot easier to get out. Oh, wow, that was very striking. Now the other like auxiliary keys, really even. It's very even. I would say that the mechanism here has like a tad little bit of resistance, which some people really like because it can sort of give you that very like vibrant trill, like especially so if I go. So the resistance kind of creates that little bit, that like extra bounce, you know? And yeah, it's a preference thing. Some people like it. Some people prefer it to be lighter. So personally, I find that this mechanism is like a tad resistant. But because of that, you get a really nice bounce. Yeah. Like it's not a snappy bounce. It's a, how to say it, like a responsive bounce. Yeah. But yeah, I would say that the flute in general, very even. I mean, it's a professional flute, so yeah, the mechanism is going to be insanely even. So very even, medium resistance. I would say that the auxiliary keys tend to have a little bit more resistance. The B flat lever has less resistance. Yeah, but I can feel that the C sharp trill and then the regular C, other C trills. Ooh, yeah, it has kind of a snappy resistance, if that makes sense. Yeah, snappy resistance is how I would describe it. But yeah, super even throughout, medium resistance is about what you're looking at. So I'll put here, even mechanism, medium resistance. Medium with good bounce. Yeah, medium resistance with good bounce. Yeah, that's I think that's how I would describe that. Yeah, it's a good flute. It's a really good flute. Okay, so let's try out a little bit of Genshin for those two themes. And just so you guys know why I'm using those two, the other reason that is that I haven't said, I don't get copyright DMCA'd. I find that whenever I do like actual classical music, ironically, I get so many DMCAs. So, and I just don't feel like dealing with it. So we're just not doing it. So let's do, I have Rapid as Wildfires out here. Let's see. No, I have, no, I did not kill this. Okay, excellent, excellent. So, we'll do, okay, cool. So, we're going to try out just the Genshin theme first, though, and see what I discover. Candor, I see you in the chat. I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? All right. My first impression was, oh, wow, this is very stable. So I'm just going to go back and play the C sharps because usually I immediately notice if the C sharps feel like kind of sensitive to me. And I didn't even notice them at all. So I'm going to like fiddle around the C sharp. That's what the C sharp trill. Wow. Intonation is tight on this thing. It's very in tune with itself and it's stable. So the intonation is very, very, very stable on this thing. I'm very impressed with it because I was like, I'm not really doing much to like I'm doing a little, okay? I've been trained, so like I think even without realizing it, I'm making some micro adjustments, but in general, extremely stable intonation. Like, I was pretty struck by that. Saturday, you're mentioning a huge low register. I remembered to bring the air bubble low enough. That's why it was so huge. Okay, we're going to try Rapid as Wildfires now. By the way, Iber usually is not DMCA'd, but whenever I play it well enough, it is. So that's one of the reasons why I just kind of got tired of practicing on stream because I just kept having to deal with DMCA. It got very tiring. Also, I wanted to kind of keep a little bit more of a private life. And I felt that coming on stream every day to practice was contributing negatively to that desire. So I feel like this once a week review nerdy stream is the perfect in between. So, anyway, let's try Rapid as Wildfires. the first thing I'm really noticing is that the middle register E is very stable, and I think I know exactly why. So if you again look at our lovely little diagram here, the middle register E is going to sit right in between where the C5 and the G5 sit there. So I'm actually very naturally aiming my airstream low, right? Because I need to open up the space pretty much right in front of my lower front teeth. Now, a trick that Just Another Flute Guy in the chat, Nicholas, taught me, thanks to his professor, Alice Dade. So a trick that he taught me when I was doing my daily practice streams was that for the middle register E, what you want to do is aim your airstream a little bit lower and add a little bit more power to it. If you do those two, then you're going to get a nice stable middle register E that doesn't crack. Because normally, like if you kind of go at it in the same angle that you do for the other notes around it, a lot of times if you put too much power into it, it will crack high. But if you don't put enough power into it, it'll crack low. So the middle register E is very prone to cracking on most flutes. It either cracks high or cracks low. It's just very difficult to get it to like stick. So a great way to make it stick is to aim low, put more power in it. What's interesting is that aiming low for the Sankyo 401 is essentially built into it. So because that air bubble has to sit so low. So because of that, I noticed that even though I wasn't getting the exact like resonant sound that I wanted to, because I'm just so not used to this flute, that middle register E was not moving. It was not cracking. So I will put here extremely stable middle register E. Very stable because the air bubble needs to sit so low in front of the lower front teeth. Because air bubble naturally sits in front of lower front teeth, causing airstream to be directed lower. Yeah, that was very interesting to feel. I was like, oh, huh. Okay, so if we continue a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the middle register E is insanely stable because, like, I think it's essentially because that air bubble is just like so low that you really naturally aim the air low, so it hits it every time. That's incredible. Um, it did make me think as I was playing. I was like, if you are used to playing this, like if this is your flute, if you go to any other flute, you're going to think all middle register E's are awful, because you're going to be like, oh my God, why are they like cracking all the time on literally any other flute I play? This is probably why. This is because the setup of this flute has actually, you know, like naturally made it so that middle register E's are just like very stable, because they've just placed it so low that you naturally have to aim low. I find that really interesting. I can tell when I was not putting the air bubble in the right spot. Like I can kind of hear that the resonance was kind of coming in and out. But you guys may have noticed when the resonance was there, like, ooh, like this flute really sings, and it sings on its own. It's quite incredible. So, I love it. I think it's a great flute. It's a really, really great flute. I do actually think that the pin mechanism made it so that it is lighter, because usually I know that for flutes with the full B foot joint kind of business, C sharp trill, split E mechanism, that all adds weight to the flute. Usually for a flute that has all these bells and whistles, I'm usually pretty tired by now, with what I have played. I'm usually pretty tired by now. I'm actually surprised at how much I'm not, which I think is a sign that it really is a little bit lighter than other like similar builds, but with pinless mechanism. So yeah, I do actually think that the pin mechanism is making it lighter. So yeah, really well made pinned mechanism is very even as well. The pinless mechanism, in my opinion, though, you can feel a difference if you're really looking for it, I would say. But is it completely necessary? No, I don't think so. You really need to find a flute that matches you. So yeah, it's got a split E. I'm very surprised at how even that split E feels. It does not feel clunky. Like I actually kind of forgot that it had a split E. Straight up forgot that. Yeah, I did. I completely forgot that it has split E. So even. Insane. Usually you can feel when a flute has split E, has like kind of feels like it has a little bit extra weight on some of the keys, like it's like slightly uneven. Can't tell. Okay, I could tell a tiny bit since I'm looking for it, but when you're actually playing, can't tell. God, that looks so gross on my lap there. So sorry, guys. Ew. Yeah. Yeah. I'm very impressed. I feel like, for pinned mechanisms, I'm not actually used to it being so even. It's an incredibly even pinned mechanism. Incredibly even. So I'll put this in here. Incredibly even pinned mechanism. I forgot it had also put it as a separate point. I forgot it had split E. So even. Usually you can feel it. You can feel it on other flutes. Like you're like, yes, this one has split E. You can kind of feel like slight unevenness, a little bit kind of chonky. Like it feels sort of chonky. You don't even notice it here. Completely didn't even notice. Forgot. It's very good. I do agree with you, Henry. Very good workmanship. The craftsmanship is top notch. Very good. Okay. I think I really need to move on to the other head joint. So for the other head joint, we don't need to mess so much with the mechanism. Let's do. We're now going to do the RT head joint. Let me very quickly though swab this out again. I'm reading the chat. It's interesting. Okay, so let's take out this one. So that was the FT. Now we're going to put the RT on. So I believe the RT is just a different cut. That's all it is. So we'll see what this one has to offer. Oh, there's more of a ridge. It's almost like it's almost like a wave head joint on, you know, like that you would see on a piccolo. So this one I think I do need to show on camera. So I have to take that out again. Sorry for the mess, guys. Here, I'll straighten things out. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but okay. Can you guys see how it kind of like goes upward like a wave? So I think what this is going to do is like kind of like focus your air down a little bit more for you. Like I imagine it would do what it would do on a piccolo, which is that like it kind of allows you to use a slightly bigger airstream. That's super interesting because you'll see that this one doesn't have that. So this one is the one that I just played. This is very normal, like just kind of flat. And then this one you can see it kind of like goes upward. Yeah, is their wave cut. Yeah, the RT is their wave cut. Ha! Thank you for confirming. Yeah, I immediately noticed that when I was putting it on. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, so let's bring that out again. Go back to here. Okay. So interesting. I wonder what this is going to do in terms of our little drawing. So, let's just do this all on the same thing, right? I think it just makes sense to do that. So I'll do, so this one is the Sankyo 401, and this is the RT wave head joint. I'll call it RT wave head. Oh, that's too large, isn't it? Okay, let's make it smaller. 50. So this is Sankyo 401 RT wave head joint. Okay, cool. And I think what I want to do is just move this here. I'll move it there. Don't worry, guys. I'll fill in the thing. Don't worry. There. Okay. Right. What I do want to do is where did my lips go? My lips disappeared. Oh no. Okay. I think what I'll do here is let's make a new one, and then yeah, sorry about this, guys. Give me a sec. We'll take all of this and put it here. Okay. Gotta draw in those lips though. So my poor lips just disappeared. Poor lips. So goodness gracious. Kind of. Oh dear. Hello. There we go. Oh god. I keep losing it. Okay. We'll say that is what we're working with. Okay. Cool. So, let's see how this goes. We need to say that this is the RT headjoint. There we go. Okay. And then for our notes, let's get a new page of notes going. Great. Okay, so let's try this. Can you tell this is more comfortable to me? I almost feel like I don't know if I'm overreaching by saying this, but I almost feel like where you place the air bubble is like so much more familiar to me that I'm like, is this like a North American version, basically? Like it's like catered to North American mouths? Like, because the low note doesn't sit quite so low. What's also interesting is that the outlier harmonic is not the high C, like on the FT. The outlier harmonic is the one that I'm used to being the outlier, which is a high G. So everything sits higher. Generally does the same motion. Like this is actually very close to my flute. This is surprisingly very close. I would say that just because it is a B foot joint, it's sitting a little lower, a tiny bit lower, but not much. Because I was trying to place the air bubble in the same way as the FT, and it was like, ooh, those low notes, like I was like, no, that air bubble wants to be higher. So we're going to do this again, and then I'll map it for you guys. one harmonic at a time. So the low C is right here. Actually, I'm going to bring the lower lip higher because oh there. This is terrible, guys. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. Okay, so the low C is sitting like right there. Okay, so if we were to compare, you see how much higher that is? It's basically where it's actually a tad higher than where the C5 is, but that's where the C4 is on this one. Between the teeth. So it's between the teeth. It's like here. That's right against the bottom of the top front teeth, so like right there. That is right against, I want to say it's like right here. As you can see, the whole thing is like just much higher. Right there, where the teeth meets the gums. This one's the outlier. And it's funky. It's like way out here. Then it returns. Right there. Okay, the only way I can do this is by really raising the roof of my mouth. So it's like up here. Maybe not quite that far back. It's like here. So in terms of the roof of the mouth, I kind of feel like I have to sort of like lift it. Like I have to go like that. Like I have to lift the soft palate. All right. So let me test it one more time. really, like for that high C, you have to go, oh, like really lift that soft palate to give it enough space. Okay, this is it. So this is the wave compared to the FT. So you can see the FT, one is a bigger range and it goes way lower. This, you can see, it just kind of sticks everything higher. But for some reason, that high G harmonic is just like, woo, like just out. So let's label this. So we'll do, I think we did what, 20, right? 20 was our thing of choice. So C4, and then we're doing C5, not C45. No. C5. Then this one is G5. And then this one is C6. This one is E6. This one is B flat 6. And this one is C7. This one out here is G6. Let me move it further out, G6. Okay, yes? So if you guys want a slightly bigger, there we go. That's the bigger, whatchamacallit, bigger zoomed in drawing. So I can go between them again. So this is the FT. And then this is the RT. Interesting, right? Super different. Very, very different. Yeah. So for this wave, like this is very similar to my flute. Like very similar. I would say that the low C sits a little bit higher. Even with the B foot joint, it sat a little higher. Yeah, but this is incredibly similar to my own flute. So like, if I were to choose the head joint, I would probably choose this one. Yeah, even higher than Mariah Carey. Yeah. Yeah, C45. Yeah. You find articulation so good on this head joint. Yeah, you know, I have, going back to my previous point, I'm not entirely surprised because, like, for example, I find articulation very, very easy on my own flute, which behaves very similarly to this. Like, I feel like this is like Americanized. Like, this is like Americanized version of this flute. Right? Because you see how, like, only now, like, the low register now is the only register that's in front of the teeth besides the random G6. So besides the random G6, so if it's G6, what you'll normally find is that it's like G sharp, A tends to be around where that G6 is sitting. So for some flutes, it might dip down to F sharp, but the F sharp usually sits around where the E6 is sitting. Maybe just a tad higher. Wow, this is so interesting. Okay, I do want to try articulation now. Although maybe we should write a few notes. So, hot sits higher. Only low register in front of teeth now. Feels much more like an American flute. And G6 is the outlier harmonic. So you're going to look at probably between like G sharp, A might sit around uh, or, sit somewhere in front of top teeth. Yeah. So articulation wise, again, probably just tonguing between the teeth for the low register, but then everything else will follow up the teeth. So if you find that you need to tongue high G, G sharp A, you may find that you need to tongue between your teeth there. So I'm going to test that now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It was exactly as I thought. When I accidentally, excuse me, left my tongue hitting behind my top front teeth for the high G and A, they're noticeably thumpier. So that's one of the ways that you can find out if your tongue is too far back for the note that it's playing. It has a thumpy sound. So as soon as I move the tongue back between the teeth, just for the high G and A, clean. So I think that's something that you would have to get used to. And it's not something that is entirely too hard for me to get used to, because that is how my flute plays. Though if you're going really fast, you don't have time to actually move your tongue there. So you just have to really lighten up your tongue to kind of like mimic the same sound. At least that's how I get away with it on my flute. So let's try that. If you noticeably lighten up your G sharp A, even if you're tonguing behind the teeth, you can make it match the other notes around it. It's not as crisp though. Like if you want it to be super crisp, then you do have to move your tongue down for G sharp and A to between your teeth. But what I find is very natural for me at least, is that my tongue does want to lay lower in my mouth when I'm playing really low notes, and my tongue does naturally want to sit higher in the mouth when I tongue high notes, which is exactly what's happening here. I think it has something to do with my accent, my native language, where my tongue naturally wants to hit, depending on how I speak, how I articulate things. So, yeah, I think this is just it just kind of demonstrates, how I have gotten used to speaking, and how it's translating onto the flute. So that's why I was saying that it feels like an American flute, because I'm like, this is what I'm used to. Like, I'm used to American flutes feeling this way, or similar, at least, in this way. It's interesting. Huh. So, yeah, you want to keep the tongue nice and light for the double tonguing because you have to keep it as far forward as possible. But yeah, I will say, generally speaking, so tongue, as usual, tongue follows air bubble. Can lighten up G, G sharp, A tonguing to match to match other notes tongued above and below, or tongued against back of top front teeth. Yeah. I'll put here otherwise G, G sharp, A need to be tongued between teeth. Like it needs to drop low. You don't always have the, like, it's not always fast enough for you to do that. But like, let's say that you are like just going to ping a note right on G or right on G sharp. Then you need to, like, if you're starting a note like that, like starting a phrase like that, then you know where to tongue lower than you think you need to for the high G, G sharp A. Yeah. Interesting. That's interesting. Okay, so tone color. Okay, so remember how earlier I was talking about how the tone color can either be manipulated by the shape of the air bubble itself or the space behind the air bubble? This one is the space behind the air bubble. It's not the air bubble itself. Because, you know, I was messing around with the air bubble and I was like, it's not giving. It's not giving way to me. Like, it's resisting me. But then as soon as I messed with the space behind the air bubble, came right out. So I need to do a little bit of a drawing here. So I have demonstrated this on other flutes before. So let's see. We'll do this in like bright green. So let's choose like G5. Okay. So I am feeling like there is this kind of like sphere behind the air bubble. So like if we're going to go 3D here, okay? So if we do, like, I'll do it on the side here. So like, let's say this is your air bubble. Oops, that's too far to the side. Let's say this is your air bubble. There's a space behind the air bubble, like that I feel like it kind of like sort of creates, I guess you could say, like a cone-ish shape. It is closer though to the air bubble. It's like right behind it. So it's like it's right behind it. It's like, so there's this big kind of space behind the air bubble. Now this space, you can make it wider like this so that the air bubble now becomes a sort of like triangular type of shape. Here, I will choose a different color. So like you can make it wide like this. So like this is if we're looking at it like 3D, okay? So like if it's wide like this, the space behind it is wide, then you get a richer tone color. But then if you do sort of like a, we'll choose blue. So if you do like your air bubble is here, like in front, and then behind it, your like the space behind it is like tall and narrow. So it's like this. It can be taller and narrower. So if it's like that. If it's like that, then you get the like thinner sound. So thin, and then we've got, this is rich. Oops. Let's just do everything in black then. So this is thin. This is rich. And then this is kind of your like middle of the road. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah, so you're playing with the space behind the air bubble. It's super interesting. It's like pretend you almost have another air bubble behind the air bubble that I've put here. So there's another air bubble behind it that you can, it's not an air bubble, it's just a space. So there's like this like kind of nebulous space behind the air bubble that you can like manipulate. But you do the same thing that you would to the air bubble. So if you want it rich, then you like flatten the space behind the air bubble, make it wider. If you want a thinner sound, then you narrow the space, make it taller behind the air bubble. It's super interesting. Huh. I think this will work much better for someone who prefers to think of like vowels to open up their mouth, or to like manipulate the shape inside of their mouth. Some people prefer thinking in vowels. So I feel like this would be a great flute for those types of people. Interesting. So I'll put here that the tone color plays with the space behind the air bubble. Yeah, the all, right? Because if you think of doing that, it changes the shape of the space behind where the air bubble would sit, because the air bubbles are all, as you can see from the drawing, my drawing, all the air bubbles are actually quite far forward, right? They're quite, they sit very forward in the mouth. Yeah. Huh. Wow, that's super interesting. Okay, well, it's time to play some Genshin, I think. See how it goes. couple of things. One is that because you are messing with the space behind the air bubble, messing around with tone color is actually a lot more forgiving. So you can generally think of the space behind your teeth as like narrower and taller, and then basically all of your notes will be hollow. If you think of the space behind your teeth as flatter and like wider, pretty much all your notes are going to have that really like rich quality. I find, at least, like, especially for people who prefer working with vowels, this is going to be a lot easier for them to play around with tone color, right? Because you can really think for like the rich tone, and let's see, like you have to kind of squish your cheeks in for that like tall, thin shape. So you can kind of move the E up and down. So if you move the E higher in the mouth, then it'll sound great for high notes. If you move the E lower in your mouth, it'll sound good for low notes. Yeah. And then like around that for like the thinner tone color. So you don't have to, like, just the fact that you don't have to manipulate the air bubble itself. I think it definitely makes it a lot easier for people who prefer to work with vowels, I think. Hey, blind guy, how are you? Welcome. Interesting. So, the other thing I noticed is, it is actually, I'm finding it actually a little bit harder to really swing the pitch. So when I do like pitch bends and like my like very bendy vibrato, it does not give as much. This doesn't give as much. So I think if you're looking for a flute that like is not as sensitive, this is a really good one. Potentially one way to make this more sensitive is if you pop a C-foot joint on it. I do notice that C-foot joints in general tend to be more sensitive to like intonation. So wonder how I sound between the wave and the wings. I wonder too. This is surprisingly very similar to my flute, except I think for my flute, it manipulates the air bubble instead of like the space behind it. Yeah. So it's kind of like halfway there to my flute. Yeah, interesting. Okay. I looked at the time and I realized that I have really let myself go. So I will just play maybe one page of Rapid as Wildfires. Here. You hear the crack? So it's a lot easier to crack it because now that air bubble wants to sit a little bit higher, but you have to like consciously aim your airstream further down. You hear that? sorry. What I was finding was that I got too used to the FT and my air bubble wanted to stay way too low for the tongued bits. So I need to remember to keep the air bubble a little bit higher. Crisp the high G and A were? It's because I was tonguing between my teeth. So like if you know that you're starting tonguing on the high G, G sharp A tongue between your teeth, and it's crisp. If you do it behind the teeth, it's gonna sound really thumpy. Okay. Yeah. Good stuff. I really yeah, that E being a little bit higher is now making this just like pretty much any other American flute that I play, that I have played, is that middle register E is just not as stable. You really have to aim low. And that it's just because that air bubble sits quite high. Now I know why. Now I know why it is it's so unstable. So I'll put here middle register E, like American flutes. So air bubble sits higher than RT head joint, but need to aim airstream lower, plus add more support, like air support, and then it'll come out. Interesting. Okay. I think thank you, blind guy. I am trying to make sure that I also verbally describe where I feel the air bubble, because, not only can you not see the drawing, I do know that a lot of people watch this live stream on the side when they're looking at something else. So I try to, verbalize everything. So thank you for saying that you enjoy my descriptions. What we're going to do now is switch over to the next flute, and I'm going to just let my hubs know that I need to go over time, because I think I need at least another hour for the next bit. So let me just let him know. Okay, cool. So let's move on to the next flute, which is the Muramatsu. So this is a handmade Murumatsu 9K. Let's change the review title here. So this is Muramatsu 9K. We're not going to do it with the Lafin Headjoint first. We will do it with it after. And let's see what we have in terms of, so I will need to clean all this up, I think, off camera, just so that I have enough time to get to the other, to the Muramatsu. Okay. I'm just slightly swabbing it out right now to make sure that it's not absolutely drowning in my slobber, Oof. Yeah, I think we are going to just quickly swab this. Good thing I know that it'll just be a single pass through. Okay. So do this. Oh, would you look at that? We are going to do this. There we go. Cool. Okay. We're also going to put this in another one. Okay, wonderful. So let's get cleaning. I think I will do the wipe down afterwards, but it's quite slobbery right now, so we're just going to clean it really quickly. La finale. Yes, indeed. La finale, indeed. So I don't know how many of you know this, but the Lafin was actually the head joint that I had my eye on since my master's. So since the beginning of my master's. So we're talking 20. Oh no. Oh no. It's a long time ago. We're talking 2012. So in 2012, I began to have my eye set on a Lafin as my potential upgrade, because my master's professor, it's clean, my master's degree professor, Linda Lucas, played on a Lafin. And, she really sealed the deal in my head, because, before that I had already heard that Lafins tend to pair well with Brannans. And so, I was like pretty hell-bent on, getting that combo for myself. And then, so the manga truly was an accident. Like, I know that, some people may look at my video and be like, oh, haha, Joanna's just being kind of like, funny and saying, oops, I bought a head joint. But in reality, the manga was actually not on my radar at all. It was not on my radar. I actually wanted pretty much exactly, this was my old dream head joint, complete with the wings. I wanted a Lafin, 14K with wings. This was actually the original dream. So I'm excited to see how I respond to it. Now, we're pairing it with a Muramatsu because I have heard that our European brothers and sisters really love the Muramatsu and Lafin combination. So let's have some fun and see what it looks like. Okay, so the Lafin is here, and this was the RT. So we're just going to put that off to the side for now, until we have done a proper review of this. Let's see what this comes with. So again, shoulder strap. We have gauze with a dark wood cleaning rod, and then we have the model serial number. Looks like this is, yeah, they hand wrote this and signed it. Wild. So this is Murumatsu America. But I'm guessing that it's that same, Japanese craftsmanship. So here we go. And then let me open this up for you guys. Isn't she a freaking beauty? Look at that. Absolute beauty. So let me, I'm going to call up the whatchamacallit, the product page. And then we will, this is an inline G, so that's going to be interesting for me. So this is Murumatsu Handmade Flute in 9-karat gold. So 9-karat gold, hand-cut head joint, 9-karat gold body, sterling silver mechanism, pinned mechanism, again, pinned. So probably lighter. Drawn tone holes, French open hole model, pointed key arms, gold springs, Murumatsu pads. 0.014 tubing, which I believe is their standard, but compared to American brands, that's pretty thin wall, because the American brands tend to, their standards tend to be 0.016. No, wow. To Muramatsu, for this, 0.014 is the heavy wall, but it's actually thinner than the standard that most American brands are at. Most American brands, not all. So they do have, you can get an even thinner wall, 0.012 inch standard wall. But this one is 0.014. And then, is it, let me look here. No, this one is a 0.012. This one is a super thin wall. Oh, wow, it must be very sensitive. Okay, no, this one's 0.012. This is very thin. Holy, wow. That's very thin. That's extremely thin. Okay. A tuned at 442. C sharp trill key on this is standard. D sharp roller is also standard. See, I was right. Some flutes, it's standard. B foot joint, handmade in Japan. I was right. This is handmade in Japan. And let's see. So in particular, we are working with, what else on here that was not mentioned? Yeah, I think we, yeah. This one is an inline G. This one is the traditional, but you can get the Tsubasa style, which has the wings on this one. It's just so happens that what we're trying with this, though, is the Lafin with wings, which is apparently what a lot of our European brothers and sisters really love. They love this combo, so I'm very curious. Yeah, so standard wall. If you wanted the heavy wall, which is still only 0.014 inch, it adds $2,150. So it's you know, kind of up there. And then you do have some engraving options. You can have an engraved head joint. And you can also get it fully engraved, which I wonder if that means that you can engrave all of the keys, I believe, which is always very beautiful. So, yeah, so this particular flute, with this particular setup is as of March of 2025. Again, it's not new. It's just that if you're watching this in the future, prices go up and down, appreciation, depreciation, inflation, etc. But as of right now, March of 2025, this is going for $20,750. So it's pretty much the same price as my flute, and it actually looks very similar to my flute too. So, okay, let's head back to this screen. And then we are also going to put in here. This is the, oh, it's in white. Of course you guys can't read that. Okay, so we'll put here. There we go. Muramatsu 9K. Okay, so this is just the Muramatsu 9K without the Lafin head joint. Cool. So let's put it together. Very light immediately. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can tell there is definitely a weight difference. it looks like, because it's so thin wall, it looks like they have added a little bit of extra something on the tenons. So let me show you guys here. So you guys notice that the tenons have been, looks like they've been reinforced with silver, I think. Yeah, and you can see that on the head joint as well. Ooh, right there. Interesting. Okay. Ooh, so interesting. I think it's because it's so thin wall. I'm pretty darn sure. Wow, it's so light. Oh, not reinforced. They're caps. They're caps. Yes, it's to be taken off. Yes, they're tenon protectors. Understandable because it is so thin. So I'm going to put them in there. Okay. There we go. Oh! One key has been engraved. You see that? Oh. It's so hard to see because it's so shiny. But yeah, you see that? I think if you got everything, every key engraved, that's what it would look like. So Muramatsus have D sharp key engraved from DS and above. Is that how they get you? Is that how they get you? Because that is very pretty. Because then now you're like, oh, you know? That's why you have your D sharp key engraved on your powel. Okay, guys, I'm going to take off the tenon protector on that one as well. Okay. This is basically the Murumatsu sister of my flute. Because mine is a 10K. This one's a 9K. Okay, I'm going to do a more extreme rock stroke grip because this one isn't in line. Okay. Oh, ooh, very light. Very light. Key work is also very light. It's, yeah. You know, whereas the Sankyo had that kind of like, the medium resistance, this is very light in comparison. I did know that Brandon made a 9K because by the time I ordered it, I noticed that they no longer had the 9K. So I actually had my eye on a 9K because it was the cheapest gold that you could get. And then when I actually went to order it, the cheapest gold that they had was 10K. So I'm not exactly sure when it was between that time that they changed it. But yeah. Okay. I'm just taking out a plug because it's slightly distracting me. Excuse the struggle. I need to find where that C7 wants to sit. Okay, so what I can say is that the B flat 7 is the outlier harmonic. That's the one that suddenly shoves forward and lower. Okay, I see. So B flat harmonic is the one that's shoved all the way forward. So I'm going to guess that it is high, maybe A. Don't know about A. Usually if it's the high B flat that is the outlier, then that means that it's high B flat and high B. Those two notes need to be shoved forward and a little bit lower than expected. So this means that this flute is fairly predictable to play in most of the range of the flute is what I'm saying. Like you don't have to kind of like drop your, you know, like the previous flute, you don't have to drop your tongue for the like G, A. Is that my hubs? My love? It is you. Are you good until I go to 5? Okay. Are you good if I go to 5? Yeah? Sweet. Okay, I'll close the door so it's not so loud. All right. Sorry for running off, guys. Hubs is home. And I promised that I would help out with dinner, so I definitely have to stop at 5. Okay. Now, let's map this. Enjoy dinner. Okay, so. All right, so low C. Oh, whoop. What the heck happened? We're typing that again, guys. There we go. So there we go. Okay, so now low C is here, I think. I need to test it again. A little lower. A little lower. Oops. So it feels like, goodness. Where's my cursor? There it is. Okay. Feels like it's here. Or is it even lower? A little lower. Just a hair. It's like at the bottom of my, yeah, my bottom front teeth. All right, so C5 is out here. G5 is right in between the teeth, but still quite forward. So it's like here. So this shoots up behind. It's like right there. Okay, that one is farther up the tooth. Like there. It's like mostly still on the tooth, but just where it meets the gums. So I don't quite have to lift the soft palate, but we're like almost there. So it's like there. Yeah, this one's interesting. It's kind of like the other one where it's like suddenly here. That's B flat. It's a little higher. It's like here. And then the C goes back. Oh, okay. Pretty hard on me because I have to lift my soft palate again, kind of like the last one. It's up here. So yeah, again, I need to lift the soft palette in order for that to actually come out. Okay, so let's now label this. 20. Okay, so this is C4. And then this is C5. This is G5. This one is C6. This is E6. G6. This one, I'm gonna have to put it up here, B flat 6. And then this one is C7. Okay, so that's our map. If we were to compare it to the 401, actually fairly similar, except that I would say in this one, it's halfway, or like most of the lower two registers are in front of the teeth. This one has only the low register is in front of the teeth, and then the G is the outlier here, but the B flat 6 here is the outlier. But you can see how like they all actually play fairly similarly. So like I'm not surprised that the same types of people enjoy this, you know? Yeah, this is so interesting. Okay, so if we test articulation now. Nothing really special. You just follow, the tongue just follows where the air bubble is sitting. For any notes that are in, like where the air bubble is in front of the teeth, you just tongue between your teeth. That's it. No, nothing crazy. I think personally, I'm finding it very difficult to get that air bubble low enough. And then also because my tongue has, I think maybe I need to actually tongue more against the lower teeth when I'm down so low. I think I'm going to try it. Yeah, it's a little hard for me to get fast because I have to keep so much space, you know, in front of my lower teeth there. I have to keep so much space to keep the flute light on my lips. Yeah. And then I found that tonguing slightly lower, like favoring the lower teeth when you tongue between your teeth for low notes does tend to work a little better, but my mouth is not really used to it. you got to keep your double tonguing really light in the front. It is like, you know, fairly like, I would guesstimate a fairly European way of like tonguing articulation. Very light in the front. Not a true tucka tucka. It's more of, like someone else was saying, I think Saturday was saying dugga dugga. So dugga dugga, or even lugga lugga lugga. Like very, very, very forward, very light. Does tend to work a lot better on this. Very good. Okay, so just to write down a few notes. So it's big thing I noticed is similar range of motion to Sankyo. So no wonder the same people, group of people really like a Sankyo and also Muramatsu. This one is the high B flat 6 equals the outlier harmonic. So I'll say low C sits quite low in front of lower front teeth. Favor lower teeth, fine. Lower teeth when tonguing low notes. I think that's really what I'm noticing. Definitely you need a lot of space, so keep flute light on chin to allow for enough space for low notes. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's keep going. Lady Opulence, I hope you're doing all right. I just saw that you said that you're at the hospital right now. I hope you're okay, and that whatever you are dealing with, that you know, you will keep that strength going. I know that it can be really tough, whatever it is, whether it's you or it is a loved one. It is tough on, you know, everyone. So yeah, we're sending you so much love, and we hope that this live stream can just help, you know, provide some joy, you know, in the chaos. So yeah. Okay. So, you play with the air bubble on this one. It's not the space behind it. So very close to how I play on my flute. This is also very close to how I play on my flute, except I think the low C sits way lower. I wonder what would happen if this was a C foot joint. It might just make it that much more comfortable. Like I probably also would not have to lift my soft palate in order to get that high C. Like it might just fix all the problems that I'm currently having with this, that I personally am having. If you have a larger mouth than me, you probably don't even have this problem. So, yeah, so it's kind of expected, you know, like nothing crazy with the tone color. So I'll put here, play with shape of air bubble for tone color. Yeah, it's the shape of the air bubble. It's not the space behind it. Okay, so now that we've done that, and the same thing goes for dynamics too, I think. Yeah, but I am noticing the same thing as on the Sankyo. So small air bubble, which means you're playing soft, move forward. Large air bubble, which means you're playing loud, move back. It's very, very distinct. You can absolutely feel it. So, because you will feel that you're just going to completely overdo it if you don't move that air bubble back, if that air bubble is huge when you're playing like a really loud note. So make sure you move that back. Okay, so now for the mechanism, it's insanely light. Oh, that's C sharp, man. Very stable. That is insane. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Now I know why the gizmo helps, because essentially what it does is it just snaps the air bubble can just snap lower. Okay. Okay. I think that's what happens on all flutes. That's what I'm starting to think. So gizmo snaps the air bubble lower for for C7. Super light mechanism, very even, but that's a given. One thing I am noticing though is that compared to like even the Sankyo, I feel like the spacing of the keys is wider. But I will say that I feel that. I'm not sure how you guys feel. I feel that the spacing of the keys is wider. It feels wider to me. I don't know why. It just feels like really big to me. So like it's not like the tone holes feel like the open holes feel big. It's just the spacing of it feels a little bit bigger than I expect. So not sure if you guys heard that there's a few notes here and there that like sound kind of funky and wonky. Is because I was actually missing the hole because it's just spaced a little wider than I expect it to be. Which this can be a very good thing for people who have larger hands than me. You will not feel so cramped. Okay, let's play a little bit of, oops, I didn't mean to make that go away. Let's play a little bit of Genshin. Excuse me. Okay, so I wasn't crazy. That like it does feel more spaced out to me. So yeah, if you have larger hands, you're probably gonna really like this because like it just doesn't feel as cramped as you might feel on some other flutes. Okay, I was literally just watching my map that I drew here while I was playing, and it's just like bang on every single spot. Your high A is going to sit around where the G is, not where the B flat 6 is. And yeah, so I was thinking as I was playing this, I would be so much more comfortable if this was a C foot joint, because then I wouldn't have to go quite so low. When I was going that low, I had to really keep the flute very light on my chin. Okay, so now let's play some Rapid as Wildfires. Just the first page. I need to remind myself where everything sits though. Okay. Oh! It is a little tiring for me to like constantly keep the air bubble so low in front of my lower front teeth. I am getting a little bit exhausted from that. So something I noticed is one thing I have heard is to make sure that your left thumb is straight and allow it to ride very high on the thumb key. And I always never really understood why. Now I understand why. It's a lot more comfortable to do that in an inline G flute. On an offset G, it's not as comfortable. You do want the thumb to ride a little lower. But then if you let it ride quite high, with the inline G, it is a lot more comfortable. Thought I'd let you guys, that's what I was noticing when I was doing this. I was like, because I was having a lot of trouble when I was like letting the thumb sit where I normally let it sit. And I was like, no, wait, someone has told me before to like let the thumb ride higher and that is more comfortable. I'm realizing now that one, that person had larger hands than me. And two, I think it's like on an inline G, it does work a lot better. Now, I found that playing so low in front, so fast with a lot of tonguing, for me is a little bit exhausting. But if you just normally play like this fits your mouth, you're gonna have no problem. It's just that I personally don't have a lot of space out there. But it's a great flute. That's what I noticed while I was playing this super fast piece. So we now, I'm still, look at that, guys. I keep My goodness. I just don't notice this because I keep wearing black leggings. But now that I'm wearing jeans, y'all can see how slobbery I am. Okay. The moment of truth. I don't have a lot of time to do this, so we're going to have to speed through this. But the Lafin. I am so curious. I am so curious to see how this Lafin is going to work out. I'm super curious. Okay, we're going to have to fly through this. I'm so sorry, guys. But we will do everything that we normally do. I just can't yap as long. So let's do this. This is the... Okay, we will be here. This is the Murumatsu 9K plus Lafin 14K head joint. And it has wings. 14K wings. There we go. That fits. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, definitely you can feel that it's much heavier. Oh no, does it not fit? Please tell me it does not fit. Oh no. It doesn't fit. Okay. It doesn't fit, but that doesn't mean we can't try it. Dang it. I'm curious now, is there a chance for this to fit on my Brandon? It fits perfectly in my Brandon. Oh, this, guys, this was the original dream. Okay, we're changing course here. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a very quick review right now, but we'll see if Flute Center will let me keep this for another week. Because if they let me keep this for another week, I want to do a comparison with my Manka head joint. So we're going to change this. This is now Lafin 14K on Brandon 10K. There we go. I was not expecting it to fit, guys. I was not expecting it to fit. Okay. This is now Brandon 10K plus Lafin 14K wings. Okay. Okay, this was what I was originally going to shop for. Yeah, it doesn't fit the Muramatsu. It would have to be sized down. Oh, very top heavy. Extremely top heavy. Wow. This is how my teacher plays. Because what I'm experiencing right now is what she taught me in lesson of how to play low notes. She said, let the notes sit on your lower lip, like feel that air bubble. Or I forget exactly what she called it, but she was saying like really feel it, the air like on your lower lip, and just kind of let it stay there. right, so what interesting, it changed the outlier harmonic. Normally on this flute, even with my manka, the outlier harmonic is a high G. This one is a high C7. So everything is kind of sits on the lower lip. Wow. Do you guys hear it? Do you guys hear how it, like, if I did not want wood, I think I was right. So let's do very quick drawing. Hopefully the Flute Center will let me keep this for another week, because now what I want to do is a comparison between this, my old head joint, and the manka. Like I want a 3-way comparison now. But where it sits, the low C, the low C is here, which is where I'm used to it. It's like right here. Then keep going. Yeah, this is where I'm used to it. Yep. It's like here. Yeah, it's much higher up. So that one is here. Okay. Right there. Ooh, I have to lift my soft palate a little bit. There. Yeah, to very gently lift it. I think if I was playing on a B foot joint, I'd have to lift it way more. It's like right there. B flat. And then the C7 is way out front. Ooh. Way out front. It feels like it's like here. Okay. So we mapped it at the very least. Going 20. Okay, so C4, and then this one is C5, G5, C6, E6, and then G6. This one is B flat 6, and then this one is C7. Okay, we have that. Let's mess around. I was right. If the manga didn't exist, I probably would have bought this. I found my old dream head joint. Wow. Yeah, I really think this is alternate universe, Joanna. Yeah. If I lived a different career, I might have picked this one. I don't know if you guys can tell. Right? This one is smooth. Like if I like basically if I decided to become like an actual like orchestral flutist, I think this one fits better for orchestral playing. But I don't do orchestral playing. Yeah. This is absolutely alternate universe, Joanna. Okay, I'm going to ask the Flute Center if I can hold on to this head joint for longer. I can probably send all the rest back, but I'm going to see if I can hold on to this one longer because I really want to see how it compares directly against my old head joint and the manka. So we'll see if that happens. I'm not going to completely promise it. So if it doesn't happen, please don't be too sad. Okay. But I will ask the Flute Center if I can hold on to it for one more week. Incredible. I don't think that I should buy it because it is going for $8,650 as of right now. And I do not think I can justify that cost with, I think, how little I will be playing it. I think it deserves to go to someone who will be using this for their like career. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is another foot joint money. Exactly. So it's more than the foot joint. So I'm like, yeah, maybe not. Yeah, it's a lot and it's used. This is used. Okay. So okay, I really got to go now. So, you know what? In terms of notes on this, what are our notes? This is that is Joanna's alternate universe head joint. That's what it is. If I lived a different career, if I was a like, you know, a different type of flutist, I think I would have bought this. I absolutely think I would. And honestly, that price, as insane as it sounds, was actually within my budget. My budget was actually going up to 10K. So alternate universe Joanna absolutely would have bought this. I actually, if the manga had not come to me, I probably would have bought this. Crazy. Okay. I love y'all so very much. Thank you for staying around and hanging around with me for so long. I love you so very, very much. Please stay happy, healthy, and safe to the best of your ability. It's not always within our control, but, you know, do what you can that is within your control. I do find that helps us all feel very stable, you know. But whatever happens in your life that you cannot control, I know from my own experience, you know what? At the very least, we have this. We have the flute. We can escape. We can be happy. We can be ourselves. And yeah, I just want you guys to really like cherish that, you know. I think sometimes we take our joy in this for granted. But this really is kind of like a corner of the internet that we can all escape to. And I hope that you guys had fun here. So take care of yourselves, because there is no music without the musician. I will see you guys sometime next week, hopefully with a 3-way head joint battle. Laters, guys. Bye.